Well, Flagstaff plays a host to a number of exceptional athletes, but one has a story that many consider remarkable. NAZ Today's Jacob Larson has this special report.
Kaitlyn Verfuerth, the Paralympian that lives right here in Flagstaff, has a story that's been told on a number of occasions, but never before like this. When I sat down with her, Verfuerth opened up about her performance in Rio, her thoughts on her abilities, and the day that changed her life forever. Behind every athlete, a unique story. Kaitlyn Verfuerth is no exception.
I play wheelchair tennis. I've been playing wheelchair tennis on and off since I was about 15 years old.
Growing up in Wisconsin, Verfuerth lived an ordinary life. But in an instant, at the age of 7, her life would change forever. On a day like any other, Verfuerth, her mother and brother were driving along a road near their home in Port Washington when an 18-wheeler struck their car. I saw you said something that you saw something pretty remarkable after the accident.
When I woke up in the car, it was really bright. I just remember it being really, really bright. And I just saw my mom, and there was cracked glass and there was blood everywhere. But I remember, unbuckling my seatbelt, and then as I was unbuckling my seatbelt, realizing that I couldn't feel my legs, nor could I move them. But I do remember seeing the Virgin Mary, and she was shining through the windshield, and she had told me that everything was going to be okay, and that I needed to go back, and I couldn't go with her, but everything was going to be fine, but I needed to stay where I was at, because for some reason she's like, it's not your time. Maybe that wasn't the wording, I can't recall, at this moment, but there was just a sense of that everything was going to be okay. There was a warmth sense inside that everything was going to be okay, and that I needed to stay here, it wasn't time. Yeah. And that was pretty amazing.
Verfuerth would suffer from a severe spinal cord injury, paralyzing her from the waist down. Her doctors saying she would never walk again.
I was really upset, really, really upset. I was like, how can I go on? What am I supposed to do with my life? And I just couldn't figure out why this was happening to me.
It was a long journey of pain and reconstruction. Through extensive rehabilitation, Verfuerth would be forced to overcome adversity and adapt to her new life, slowly becoming more independent. Despite her life being flipped on its side, she would find peace on the tennis court. In 2004, Verfuerth found herself back on top, representing Team USA in the 28th Olympiad in Athens. And again, 4 years later in Beijing. She's even collected some hardware along the way, competing in numerous Pan Am Games. Verfuerth's most recent Olympic appearance, though, came this past summer in Rio de Janeiro.
It's just on a whole other level of nervousness, excitement, anxiety, all that. And that's why I think in the Olympics and the Paralympics, there's just so many unknowns. Like, you can put so much pressure on yourself. Those 4 years you've been working so hard for this moment, and now it's here, and it's like, oh my God, I'm messing up. This is horrible.
In Rio, Kaitlyn would lose in round 1 playing against Yiske Griffin, the #1 wheelchair tennis player in the world. In doubles competition, Verfuerth and her partner would narrowly miss out on a spot in the podium, falling in the quarterfinals. Now she returns to the high country, coaching at Flagstaff High School. You're a professional tennis player, you travel the world, and then you come back here and you coach high school tennis.
I love it. I love giving back to a sport that has given me so much. I don't think I'd be sitting in front of you today if none of this ever happened,
A sentiment that carries a world of meaning for those Verfuerth has coached.
She got in this car accident when she was 7, and she somehow got through it and became a professional tennis player. So that just kind of proves to me no matter what happens in my life, I am going to be able to get through it.
Do you have a problem with the term disabled?
Yes.
Why?
I hate it because it's all the things are negative about it. It's just an XXX. So it's disabled. So you can't do this. And I can't remember, but I used the thesaurus and I put in disabled, and it came up with all these negative terms. And so that's why I absolutely hate the word.
So how do you work to change the vernacular that we all use?
Well, just really constantly being self-aware of using the word, and just when I'm out and about and talking to people, and saying, well, I'm parked in the accessible spot, or if somebody says to me, well, you're disabled, and I'll come back with something like, well, I actually have a lot of really great abilities, or these are things that I am able to do.
An attitude Verfuerth carries with her throughout life.
there's nothing that I can't do, and I truly believe that deep down in my heart. Like, there's nothing that I can't do. I just have to do it differently. Like, of course, the only thing I can't do is walk maybe right now, but other than that, there's nothing that I can't do, and there's nothing that's going to stop me from doing something. And so whether it is getting on my hands and knees and crawling to where I have to go, I will do it.
As for what's next for Verfuerth, well, she says she's still got her hopes up for the Tokyo Games in 2020. Jacob Larson, NAZ Today.